Over to you, Brad.
Well, hello, everyone. It's Brad Boyson joining you live as a podcast, that is, from Dubai. It is, we're entering the early weeks of November here, and we are entering the halfway point of our HR Learn-In. And as some of you know, we do a preemptive podcast before every learning session that we do on Tuesdays. And we're fortunate enough to have Randa Farah join us from Beirut. Hi, Randa.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So we're going to talk a little bit more about your session on Tuesday and perhaps a little bit about your academy. But before we do that, Fahad, why don't we take a quick commercial break?
Yep, let's take it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. I forgot to do my intro.
We're getting too efficient.
Exactly. Let's go to the break.
Okay, we're back. And again, we have our HR Learn-In learning session mentor joining us from Beirut, Randa Farah. Hello, Randa. Welcome back.
Hello. Great to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And thank you for meeting with us for this podcast. And as some people know, we really keep the podcast as a complement to the learning session. It's not as sort of, if you will, formal or scripted, but we're so lucky to have such experts like yourself presenting your knowledge, your wisdom, and sharing it with our community. And we obviously wanted to give you a chance to perhaps talk a little bit more about yourself, some of the areas that you're working on right now in these challenging times, but maybe for the benefit of our audience that don't know you, maybe just a brief introduction about you and maybe your academy.
Okay, so I've been working in HR for almost 14 or 15 years so far. And I've worked in different industries and different positions, so mostly in recruitment training. And I've done like plenty of assessment centers all over the world with one of the companies I've worked with. And now I founded I Have Learned Academy, which is a place where we share everything that we did not learn at school. So there are so many things that no one really taught us, and we had to learn the hard way. And I always said to myself, like, why do we have to learn things the hard way? Why no one taught me this or that before, so that I would have gained lots of time. And I wish I knew then what I know now. So this was behind my idea of I Have Learned Academy. And this is why we teach things that are really a bit different from anything you have seen anywhere. So for example, how to deal with toxic people, or how to read food labels, or I don't know, like topics that you don't really learn in a school. And I'm also a master NLP practitioner, and I'm a certified trainer from the UK. And one of my passions is happiness at work. I'm a certified happiness at work specialist from Denmark. And my passion is also everything related to stress management and personal growth. So basically also my family name is Farah, and it means happiness. So I don't know if it's by coincidence, but it should be my mission in life, actually.
There's some studies. I forget who was the expert. I read a book several years ago. Some of you may have read it too, is family names have an impact on people's careers, and sometimes it lasts for decades, if not generations. So that I didn't know that. I'm guessing Fahad knew that, but I didn't know that.
100%. And in the Middle East, that's number one. Trust me.
Yeah.
Before anything else.
Interesting. And so I think you've alluded to, but maybe a little bit more about. I mean, sometimes people ask me why I got into HR. How did you come into this unique ecosystem that you're developing? What was the catalyst for that many years ago, aside from the family name?
Like, you mean, how did I get into HR from the start?
Well, what you're developing is very unorthodox. You know, it's like someone who sort of studies medicine and then they go in a different direction. So you've created a solution that I think a lot of people would say, wow, this is really useful. This is, you know, why didn't someone do this sooner, to use your expression? But what got you started in that before? Like, how did you come to where you are now?
So, you know, I've been working in HR and I studied HR, and I have also, I'm a university instructor in HR management. And even while teaching at university or training, I always noticed that people have questions that no one can answer, or that maybe there's no course for that. And also, if we look at, for example, the method of teaching, like, for example, when I am giving a course at university, I feel that my students give me feedback that they don't give for any other professor, because I use a very different approach and different techniques, and I give them tips for life. And this makes a big impact. And also, like, as I told you before, the fact that I wish I learned some of the stuff before, and this all pushed me to do this. And actually, another important thing is that I worked in recruitment for a very long time. And you know, when you work in recruitment, there's a very big importance that we give for the behavioral side. So there's like, let's say you have two people graduated from the same university with the same almost experience. One of them could be brilliant and the other one no, because they have a different attitude, they have initiative, they worked on themselves, they know how to manage themselves, they have self-leadership, they have good time management, good stress management, and this is learned. And they have emotional intelligence. So who taught them this? Some of them, okay, they worked on themselves, they read books, they have this personality also, or family that affected positively their personality or the way they are. But some others didn't have this chance and they want to learn it, or they want also to succeed. So who will teach them this? I decided to be the one who will
I think
be.
it's amazing. I really think that's amazing because it's so unorthodox. It's, and I mean the word in the spectrum sense. It's risky because it involves a lot of swimming against the stream. But I also anticipate that it's probably been very rewarding for you personally. And as you're saying this, I'm sure a lot of people listening would think this. I think back to my own learning interventions, if that's the word you want to use, in times where I had situations where I said, oh, I wish I had learned this earlier. You know, it just, why didn't someone? And there's so many different reasons when I look back on it. Why? One, sometimes it's just the capability of the instructor. They were extremely well intended, but they didn't either have the skill, the talent to imbue that in a way that educated me. And sometimes, if I'm really honest, I don't think they understood the subject very well. You know, like I think of the calculus that I learned in university, not that I ended up becoming, you know, a mathematician, but it wasn't until I had someone explain to me calculus in a different way, using set theories and sort of infinite constructs that, you know, because when you start teaching the way we're typically taught, okay, if you're on a train going this way and you're on a train going this way, and how fast does it need to accelerate to meet at the station at this time, that doesn't grab people in a human way that learning needs. So I love the story that you had to tell. And I'm going to put you on a spot, but I expect it's not the spot. Who are some of the people, books, authors, mentors, experts, speakers that you would say have been the 2 or 3 people that you've learned the most from?
Well, there's so many. But the first book I've read was for Dale Carnegie. He was like,
Okay.
I was like maybe 14, and I was like,
Fair.
wow, he's so like, he was talking about things that I felt passionate about. And then there was Stephen Covey, Tony Robbins, all these. But one that really made a difference was Jack Canfield.
Okay.
Jack Canfield was really like a wow, because he had a book called The Success Principles. And when I've read it, it has like many principles in 2 pages each. And it's like really secrets of life, small things, but they make a huge difference. And what I love about him is that he explains complicated things in a very simple way. And this is what I always do in my sessions. Like, and this is actually what I think any trainer should do, because some of the trainers or maybe authors as well, they take complicated concepts and use complicated terms, and this is not what people need. People want you to do the job of simplifying this complicated information. And I would definitely say Jack Canfield had a very big role in that.
Can I ask, how old were you when you read Jack?
Well, maybe in my 20s, like 20, 24, 25, like that.
Because I mean, someone who reads Dale Carnegie at 14 is not typical. I mean that in the most complimentary way. That's
Thank you.
it shows a level of curiosity that's beyond one's years. So yeah.
And I've
Fahad?
read Stephen
Sorry,
Covey was
finish.
at 18, and then
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, and then Jack Canfield.
Well, I just think that compass that you're using, that all of us have, is we shouldn't be afraid to follow our own compass. And even if it's not something that ends up being somewhere that we stay, that we do, that we practice, sometimes learning what you like is learning what you don't like. And the sooner you get that through, your experiences, it has a value, even if it maybe seemed quite negative at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fahad?
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just looking into Jack Canfield, the website right now, and I think he does a lot of things, or basically in terms of human potential and psychology and other stuff. So, yeah, I think as Randa mentioned, personality plays a huge role in terms of this aspect. So I think when you improve the psychology point of view, or the human, or even I could say the personality and character, I think you will have a better person in terms of not the technical part. It's also from the elements of being a social and being corporate. I have a question for you, Randa. I don't know if it's a tricky question or not, but from a curiosity point of view, making life easier on some people is destroying them. What do you think about that?
I didn't hear the last word.
I mean, making life easier to
Yeah.
some people is like destroying them. You're, for example, not building the curiosity, not building the toughness part of it, making everything ready for them. People might take everything
Yeah.
easy. What do you respond to these people?
Actually, there's no secret formula. There's not that they will attend the session and their life will be easier. It's not this.
Mhm.
It's actually an eye opener. So if people are struggling with stress for a very long time, and they attend a stress management course, it's not that, okay, they went home and their life is easier. It's just a way, like a slap in the face, or something that makes them that pushes them into action. Because what we share is just knowledge and tips, and we give them like a toolbox, and it's up to them to really use those tools and to put them into practice. So it's simply this. It's just it's not that there's a pill and then you take it and then your life will be great. It's not this. So, but it's a very interesting question, because many people think that, okay, we have to learn the hard way, we have to discover it ourselves. But uh, yes and no in some areas, because even if they attend a session, they will get new things, they will think about new things, it will expand their horizons. We have, for example, a course named Know Yourself. It's a program of 6 weeks, and it's a deep self-discovery, so people can dive into everything related to them. And everyone who did already this course was like, wow, I really am thinking about things that I never thought about before. And it's like a shortcut. Life is short, and you have to know yourself. And some people discover, like, maybe they die before getting to know deeply themselves and what they like. Maybe they spend their life with wrong people, or they are the wrong career. So when they know themselves, it makes things better. But it's the job is on them, and it will always be.
Yeah, I love the word you said. We empower people with tools and knowledge, because majority of people, I assume, that they attend the course. They think it's like a magic pill. They will just attend. They will have everything. They will go home. They will implement what they have learned during the course, and then they will be happy, or let's say they will be successful. And it turns out after maybe 3 4 5 years, that's nothing is happening. So yeah, I like this one,
That's
because
correct.
yeah, because and what I noticed, to be honest with you, especially this debate, myself and Brad, we are having a lot against a lot of course marketing, when they say double your income, triple x your career, whatever, all these stuff. Like, you're almost giving a guarantee of this course. If someone attended, they will get XYZ of
Yeah.
result. And then this is what we really love to, is empowering
Mhm.
people with tools, skills. Yeah.
Exactly. We never give, like, I always start my training by saying, what we give you is a toolbox, and the job is on you. Like, we give the tools, and you have to do the work. And actually, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. So they have to do some of the things for at least 21 days continuously just to gain new habits. And many people got lots of improvement in their life by using some of the things we shared.
Yeah, Brad, your thoughts?
Well, and the two of you, I know, are very similar in your passions around things like engagement and happiness at work. And so I'm actually kind of asking both of you is sort of what is the, and I'm probably not going to say the question the way I like, but sort of where is that now as a, in the field, you know, because especially in the GCC, as you know, Randa, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it was a really hot topic, especially in the UAE. There were ministries set up around happiness, and I know as an HR sort of expat that I still am not really happy with the word happy. You know, I much prefer the word engagement. But I know the history, you know, and places like Bhutan and the UN, I think, has a World Happiness Index and things like that. So I'm not going to, you know, fight with the wave of where the wording came from. But I'm going to ask Randa and then you, Fahad, as well, is sort of where is the happiness engagement movement right now globally?
Fahad, would you like to start or I do?
You're the guest, and ladies first.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So basically, you know, they noticed that happy companies make more money, and happy employees are more productive. They are more like engaged. So engagement is also one of the things, of course, related to happiness. They sell more. They have better immunity as well, because
Right.
you know, when we are depressed or sad, or we have this you know, we are not happy with our work, we don't produce well, we are not effective in our work. And also many people are suffering from difficult people with them at work, like for example having a narcissistic boss, or difficult colleagues, or high competition, and this makes people really sick, and it affects them in a personal level as well. And so I had the chance actually to personally work with amazing bosses and people, but also I had one experience when I had to work with a very, very, very difficult boss. And it was like one of the, like I made it a mission to to create happiness at work, because no one deserves to go through this hell, I would call. So really it affects people on a personal level as well. So actually, this is why companies started to implement this new position called Chief Happiness Officer. And we certify now people to become Chief Happiness Officers or CHO, because people who care about their employees' happiness, it makes a huge difference. And actually, when we say happiness, it's not just coming happy to work, etc. Like, it's not this in this meaning. Of course, there's ups and downs, there's challenges, but and it's not also satisfaction. So satisfaction is when you are, let's say we have a gym at work, or we have we get smoothies to our employees every day. This is not happiness. So this is satisfaction if we pay them well, if etc. And this is the difference. Like happiness at works come mostly from two factors, which is results and relationships. So how much you feel that you're making results, how much you are achieving, and the quality of the relationship that you have. And this is what we focus on in our sessions. So mostly it makes a big difference. And also now I would add a new factor to happiness at work, which is wellness at work. And this is something I'm going to add for the next edition of my CHO certification, because wellness is now a big factor. People are tired, they are stressed, they are like the corona pandemic, all this economical crisis, those problems everywhere. And now also in Lebanon, we have a lot of challenges as well with the banks and all that. So people need to take care of themselves. And when the companies realize this and they care about the wellness of their employees, they are also the winners, because if the employees are tired and drained and sick and all that, you know, like the productivity also would go down and they will lose money.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about even going back, watching, you know, this whole satisfaction, engagement, happiness movement, say over the past 20 years, is we've built upon it in a more constructive way. We've learned from it, and we don't necessarily say that we got it right the first time, and we will keep learning as we do this. And I think that's one of the takeaways I have. So Fahad, what are your thoughts on sort of the state of the happiness movement in the workplace?
I'd rather to keep the monster sleep. um, I agree in some aspects with Randa. It's not like I totally disagree. I agree with her in certain areas, which makes sense, by the way. But I'm a big firm believer of something called an ROI, and everyone knows it. So if
Yes.
you want to make happy, if you want to make the employee happy, buy them an ice cream, and it's done. That's over. But how can you guarantee the happiness for the next 3 5 years? And then here it comes the engagement factor, because here I will ask something. I will ask a thing right now, or a couple of people, when I ask them this question: are your kids happy with you? And they say yes. What's the proof? uh, they don't know. Okay.
They
And
don't run away.
they exactly, they don't run. They don't run away. Is it because they don't have a money, or because they love you, or is it because they don't have an option, or they never thought about it? So for me, happiness, it's for me, I consider it, it's a result that we need to aim to it. But what is the machine that will drive and produce what do you call the happiness? For me, in my point of view, is the engagement. But here is the thing: there is a huge debate in the engagement factor across the globe. Everyone is trying to figure out what is the engagement and what is exactly. And I think one of the good point that Randa raised is the well-being. And I think we discussed in our previous session with Dr. Klaus about the mental health. Mental health and well-being, it has been always there for quite some time, but it may be right now it get into the surface and get more noticed because of the negative impact that the pandemic had on us as an individual from a social and corporate level. But yeah, and I agree with a lot of things what Randa said, but for me is the only like break stop point here is I work on the core, uh, I could say the core issue rather than just the finishing issue. So I don't go into happiness. I want to see exactly what's really going on with the employee. So if I fix that thing, then probably by default his happiness is going to come. So it's like the immune system. So you don't go and give painkillers. No, you go and fix the problem. It could be a diabetes. It could be a migraine. It could be something. So fix the core related issue. Then by default, the symptoms will move on, or I basically will disappear. So, but there is no right or wrong here, by the way. So everyone has its own way. But what I love is I love the diversity in terms of the thoughts. And maybe I think one of the main takeaways that I really love that Randa said is happiness is equal to result, relationship, and mental health. This is one of the great points I really love.
Yeah, I think for some people who took wellness for granted, either because they had a certain routine or they had worked to develop a certain prioritization that allowed them to manage their well-being directly or indirectly. All of us, you guys, before the session, I went for my bike ride. I'm riding my bike a lot more because I have less options available to me to exercise. So my cycling's improving, but other aspects of my physical well-being aren't. So that's not by choice. And I think a lot of people have their own sort of, whether it's mental health, physical health, routines that have been disrupted by this work. And I think what I hear both of you saying is that all of us have a responsibility to take more ownership and control over that. And I like what you said, Randa, earlier about working in that toxic workplace. I've done that myself before. Is I'm not going to let this toxic workplace make me toxic. I'm going to challenge myself to overcome this toxicity. And I don't think I'm going to change the world by doing it or change the boss or other things like that. But at a minimum, I'm going to defend my state of mind, in my well-being. And that in and of itself, I think is an important, to come full circle to what you said earlier about, learning I think all of us need to take sort of that ownership, whatever level we're at in an organization, and not just simply sit back and act like passengers, or even stronger, more passive words in our workplace as it relates to what we get out of our work. So we're getting close to our 30-minute time limit. So I wanted to give you a chance, Randa, maybe to give some teasers or samplers on what you might be talking about on Tuesday, without giving away sort of your full presentation. But
Yeah,
if
sure.
someone was listening to this right now and they wanted to sort of get a sense of what kind of things you're talking about and why they should make the time and effort to attend, what would you share?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's a very challenging time for HR with the coronavirus pandemic. So there's a crisis, also a lot of remote work. So it's not that easy. There's job cutting, lots of stress, dealing with technology in a different way. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the future of the HR profession and how to deal with these changes and challenges. And the second thing we're going to tackle is happiness and wellness at work. So how to practice them despite these hard times and while working from home. So this will be like the two main areas or topics we're gonna discuss. And also we will talk a bit about the HR trends after COVID-19 and some tips to create and maintain happiness and wellness at work, even with remote work and despite all the challenges and even things without a high budget. So you can, there are simple things that we can do. So this is what we will tackle.
Very appropriate, almost too appropriate. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you're going to say. So Fahad, final thoughts for today?
Yeah, guys, I just wanna really would like to thank Randa for her time and contribution, and I'm sure personally everyone who's listening have learned a lot. But before, of course, ending this podcast, I really want to emphasize on every audience and listeners that Randa course is on will be published on our website hopefully today as a brief. For further details will be linked into her website, so you can have more details, which is about Chief Happiness Officer certification, which will be in 4th of December. Am I right, Randa? 4th of
Yes,
December. Yeah.
for sure,
So
yeah.
it will be for 10 days, I think. Right? 10 days
No,
of
it's 4 days actually, but
Oh,
there's
4 days.
a,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's for
Actually, we are checking because this is a live one, but we will have another one online.
you have any
So it
recorded
depends.
one? Might be
Excuse me?
any recorded one, like for example, pre-recorded.
No, no.
Okay.
It's live because there's a lot of interaction.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you
Good.
cannot just watch it passively, you know.
Oh, okay. I see.
But I sent you another link now, which is
Yeah.
a website to all our events and not only this one.
Lovely.
You can check it out as well. It has, so it's ihavelearned.me/events,
Great.
www.ihavelearned.me/events. So it
Yeah.
has all the upcoming sessions. We have also some free ones and some certifications.
Yeah. So I encourage everyone, guys, who's listening to go to ihavelearned.me/events. It has a lot of events. God bless you, Randa, because you need to manage all this stuff, but it's amazing. So yeah, and plus of that, guys, if you have any notice, you can send us a private message through anchor.fm/hrlearn. We will receive your private message and embed it in our episode. And also you can listen to our full episode on HR Learn In podcast, which is available in our website. But in general, or good, everything is amazing. I have personally learned a lot. So you could see, guys, see the notes, a lot of
Ah.
so yeah, and over to you, Brad. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we encourage everyone to join us Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Gulf Standard Time for the live learning sessions that we do on HR Learning. And again, I just want to echo Fahad's sentiment. Thank you, Randa. Thank you for today's session. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. And with that, we close out with our tagline. Please tune in, skill up, and pay it forward. Until next time, goodbye from Dubai.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thanks,
Fahad,
Randa.
Brad, thank you for this lovely meeting. It was lovely. Thanks.
So a pleasure.